Hey, it's Cornelis. This is Your Band is a Business, the place where I discuss the day-to-day realities of being an independent musician. Today I'm going to discuss this article which I found about fake artists on Spotify. I'm not going to read the whole article, but I'll pick out a couple of highlights and then give some of my thoughts, and maybe you can share your thoughts as well in the comments. So, the headline here is Swedish composer becomes Spotify's most famous musician you've never heard of. Johan Rur's 2,700 songs have been streamed 15 billion times and have more plays than Britney Spears or ABBA. So basically this article talks about how this guy's been uncovered. He's based in Stockholm, and he releases music under various pseudonyms such as Maya Östrom, Minnick Knudsen, Ming Mei Hsui. He's going for different genders, different nationalities, it sounds like. And I had to listen to some of the music, and it's mostly instrumental as far as I can tell. It's all instrumental music. So either the tracks are titled things like music to relax to, yoga music, or it'll be something like Twinkle. Literally, one of the top tracks of one of these artists is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but played on a piano, very quietly, softly, and atmospherically. So this guy is getting loads of streams, billions of streams, and they are of course making money. In 2022 his company made something like 2.4 million pounds apparently, according to this article. And the journalists involved in this investigation, they approached the label through which he releases music, and Spotify as well. And they were just saying, oh, we're just providing the music that people want, and there's nothing, they're not doing anything illegal, but it does, I have something to say about this, because it shows how corporate incentives are not aligned with those of artists. Surprise, surprise, right? But I'll just read a part of the statement from Spotify. So a Spotify spokesperson said, there is an increased interest in functional music created to enhance everyday activities such as relaxation, focus, or studying, and these playlists are created to match the listener's demand. This type of music typically exists in Spotify's Focus Hub, which limits competition with artists from traditional genres of popular music. So what I think they're saying here is that if you're listening to traditional genres of popular music, then it's unlikely that you will hear one of these pieces of mood music. I don't know if it's the case for all, in every case. So for example, if you're listening to some ambient music by Brian Eno, could you then be served up some of this mood music, some of this functional music as Spotify calls it? I don't know if that's the case, or if it's completely siloed. But what my question is, what happens to the money that people are paying to use Spotify? Does that get divided equally? So for example, if somebody listens to my song, I get 0.00001 whatever dollars per stream, right? Does this person who uploaded a quiet version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star also get that same amount for their streams? Because how many people are putting on those playlists to relax to in the background and then fall asleep to, and they're asleep and that music is playing all night, and this guy's got thousands of tracks of that kind of like chill music. It doesn't seem fair that somebody that intentionally listens to one of my songs, and I'm gonna use intentionally in a broad term, like somebody might have a gym playlist and my song's on there, or they're in the kitchen cooking and they're listening to music, but there's a difference between that and it's something that's in the background while you fall asleep or you're doing yoga, in my opinion, because it's barely music. It's like these vague tones, and yeah, it doesn't seem fair that the money people are paying will go in equal amounts per stream to that kind of music. Now, here's the thing, right? Because a company like Spotify, like many big companies, they have these mission statements and their values, and they talk about empowering the user and supporting independent musicians, and bringing the music to people around the world, and that's their mission statement. And all big companies and corporations talk like that, and it's all BS to put it nicely. At the end of the day, it's all about money. And look, I don't, within reason, I don't have an issue with money, companies making money, unless it impacts the environment, which unfortunately a lot of industry and companies do, and we need to try and minimize that. Same goes for people's health and well-being. So there are limits for me. But what I don't like is when companies just they just lie. At the end of the day, Daniel Ek wants the founder of Spotify wants to make money for himself and his early investors. I don't know about later investors, because apparently this company has never made a profit. Who knows how that works? I'm not a finance guy. It's never made a profit, but 100 million for is available for Joe Rogan for his podcast, plus all kinds of other celebrities. Now I know that this money comes from more investors, or the revenue that they're generating, they're just putting it back in, and loans and stuff like that. And it's all about grabbing market share. It's all about becoming a monopoly, so that Spotify continues. It is the biggest streaming platform, but it continues to be the biggest streaming platform. Drive most of the other competitors out of the market, and then later over time you can increase the revenue through higher subscriptions and advertising, all that kind of stuff. Now, fine, do that, but don't pretend that you're here for the musician, because all the incentives of the corporation are aligned to making money, and so that's why you have this situation where they are willing to spend lots of money on the podcasts, because in the end it's probably cheaper than paying music to record labels and musicians. 100 million sounds like a lot, but they probably think, well, look, if somebody is listening to hours and hours of Joe Rogan, that we paid him 100 million or whatever the deal is once. The contract's probably more complicated like that, but you get the point. That's better than paying 3 hours, 4 hours worth of music to all these different record companies and independent musicians and whatnot. So that's why they are bringing in the podcast. That's why they're they're adding more and more video. That's why they are incentivized to make their own music. So there's been speculation that some of the artists that are on their own playlists are their own artists, in-house artists, or maybe they have a special deal with some of these fake artists where they pay them less than the stream rate they do for quote-unquote real artists, but it's still guaranteed work for these music producers, right? That could be something that's going on as well. We don't know. So the problem, like I said, the corporate incentives are to spend the least amount of money and to make the most amount of money for themselves. It's not it's not to spread music around the world and uplift the independent musician. They say that they like to believe that, just so that they can feel good about themselves when they go to sleep at night. But at the end of the day, the incentives of corporations are about making money. And in a way I don't have an issue with that, but just be honest about it. If Daniel Ek came out and said, oh, I just want to make lots of money, fair enough, but don't come out and say, as he did, oh well, musicians just need to make more music and put out more songs, and just create that content, it's not fair. And it's also not fair that he will stand on the backs of musicians to build up the platform. So he took all the music through the record labels and said, here you can get it all for $10 or $12. So he completely devalued. It's very convenient, but devalued music in a way in the process. And yeah, there's arguments it's better than piracy. Okay, that's a separate thing. But yeah, he made it convenient, but now people expected music to be available cheaply everywhere. And then once he's done that, he is then standing on the back of musicians in order to expand into being a podcast business. Because you know what, actually it's better to make money out of podcasts than it is out of music. He's not yeah, like I said, the corporate incentives are aligned to making music. If he was thinking music first, then he wouldn't bother with podcasts. He'd think, okay, how can I make this sustainable for just based on music alone? But it doesn't matter to him. Oh, it's music, it's podcasts, whatever. I'm just here to make money, right? It's those corporate incentives. And see, here is what it will lead to. It will lead to AI music, because what's better than paying musicians and podcasters? I know, we could have AI generated music, and who knows, AI generated podcasts. Imagine that. If ChatGPT can create scripts, which it probably can, based on, oh, what's a popular topic right now, then you get you've probably heard it, right? These AI generated voices to read out the script. You could create a fake persona, AI persona for it. Boom, hit podcast that is about the topic of the day that everyone is searching for. And it's like, they, at the end of the day, they can say they care about musicians and they care about the creators, but they don't. They just want to make money in the most convenient way for themselves. Now, potentially this could be a good thing. Like if Spotify just went all in on that direction and left quote unquote real musicians and real artists alone, and maybe there are some avenues for us to go down as independent, as real musicians, real artists, and we can just live in a separate world, and people that want to hear music by real people can go there. And I think there's some for example there's a service called Audius that is some kind of decentralized blockchain type streaming service that I have put my music on, but obviously it's like, you know, it's not hugely popular. But maybe something like that could come along, some kind of new version of Napster, some kind of, I'm sure there's decentralized streaming stuff out there. I haven't really looked into it, but it wouldn't surprise me if that already exists. But maybe more and more people will move over to that, where you have a decentralized streaming platform where people's music is uploaded into the cloud, as it were. People are incentivized to seed or host the music in exchange for some kind of cryptocurrency, and then a portion of that gets paid to the artists based on how much their music is downloaded or streamed. So that's a thought I've had for a while, for a couple of years though. I'm not a tech person, so I can't make that myself. So if anyone out there wants to run with that, go with that. I think Audius is something like that. I haven't quite looked into the actual technical setup of it, but I know there's blockchain technologies that have to do with providing storage, hosting files. So combine that with streaming, you know, that's probably the way forward, I think, for musicians. And then leave Spotify. If they want to provide AI generated mood music to relax to, fine, and then people can pay for that, and then the people that pay for that will know, okay, all my money is going to Daniel Ek and the people that are keeping the algorithm going, and, you know, the technical side of things going. That's fine, that's a service. And then people who can want to support quote unquote real musicians and artists, their money can go to people like you and I, to the creative people. But I don't like this muddying of the two things. Fine, do your free market, capitalist, bleed as much money, suck as much money out of the system as you can. Fine, do that. Leave the musicians out of it, because it's not fair if somebody's paying $12 a month or whatever it is in your part of the world, and they think that okay, at least I'm supporting an artist. You are in a minuscule way, and don't get me wrong, I appreciate all the people that listen to my music. You can download it for free. on Bandcamp. You can listen to it for free on SoundCloud. I'm contributing to the to the fact that music has no value. It's where we are. But as I said, how much of your fee, of your monthly fee, is going to mood music, is going to music that Spotify is maybe getting made cheaply on the side, and how much of it will go to AI music in the future. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, hey, Spotify, do your thing, leave us out of it if you can. And so hopefully there will be a decentralized blockchain streaming platform in the future, and then we can leave these corporate idiots. I'm trying to say it in the nicest way possible. We can just leave them behind. Anyway, those are my thoughts about this, about fake artists on Spotify. What do you think? Leave a comment below.